Hello everybody, my name is Coffee, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the settings I've used in my 600 hours of ArcRaiders. Before the video starts, I'd like to quickly mention that these settings are optimized for PvP and to maximize FPS for mid to low end PC users. Alrighty, so starting off, the two notable ones in general are going to be show reload progress and show damage direction. This is like anytime somebody shoots at you, it'll give you a little indicator on your screen showing you where you get shot from. You're going to want to have that on for sure. It's a little bit of extra information, so it's always nice to have. Same with this just tells you whenever you're reloading, so you can see right there when the bullet's about to finish. So moving on to controls. A lot of these are default, with a few exceptions. So, for example, crouch hold. I have this on left alt. It's just more accessible for me. It's more comfortable than something like control, so that's why I have it on that. We also do have crouch toggle. This one's nice, just like, you know, if you're holding like 3P angle and you need the crouch or something, you don't have to sit there and like hold it the entire time, so that's nice. Another big one would be dodge roll. I have this on mouse button. Again, just more accessible, and it doesn't restrict like your keyboard hand, so like WASD. It's nice to be able to roll in any direction you need to without like hitting another bind on your keyboard. So going back into controls, another big one would be unarmed. I have this on caps lock because personally when I play, I like to run around with my gun, usually not out, when I know that people are not nearby. So just for the little extra movement speed, it's nice. Rather than like, you know, waddling around with, you know, something like a Torrente or Thor out. So being able to like pull your gun out, put it away swiftly is really nice. Allows you to stay like high mobility. Flashlight is another big one right here. I also have this on mouse button. So I could probably do a little demonstration with this, because I know like things like Stella, for example, it's extremely dark, and you know, sometimes it's hard to see, so you kind of use your flashlight pretty often on that map. If you come in like here, for example, like let's say somebody's hiding like in a dark corner over here, it's nice to be able to, when you're fighting them, it's nice to be able to like jump around a corner and be able to turn the flashlight on and off. And it kind of like almost blinds them a little bit too. So just personal preference of mine is having flashlight on the mouse button. And basically everything else is the same. That kind of wraps up controls. So moving on to graphics, window bed, we play it on borderless full screen. MD frame gen, we have this off, although you could like mess around with this and try it and see if you like it, but for me personally, it feels like there's like input latency or something like that going on, and it feels like unnatural, so I don't play with it on. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. So we have that off. VSync, we have that off. Low latency, we have that on. Frame rate limit, this should be set to your monitor's refresh rate, so for me that is 165. Upscaling resolution, play on 1440 by 1080. Stretch res, so yeah. Scaling method, AMD FSR3, that's just what I find to be the best. And for the quality preset, we play on performance. I'm on a 1660 Ti, so like not really a good graphics card, kind of like low end, so performance is what I can do and get decent FPS, although I would prefer to play on quality. So if you could play quality, I'd recommend quality. Moving on to field of view, play on 80, and motion blur, we have that off. View distance, we have this on low. I've seen a couple other like settings videos and guides and stuff like that say that if you have this on low instead of high, that you will not be able to see like players and stuff at a distance. I can confirm that this is false. This is only for objects. This is only for like trees and stuff like that. Alrighty.
We went to the northwest, bro. Like I'm like out of heals now.
Oh my god, good night.
Get out here.
I have both, so for the FPS sake, I have this on low. Anti-aliasing, we have this on low. Shadows, we have this on low. Post-processing, As you can see, it got like a little blurry there. I have this on medium because it just makes the game like look a little better. So if it reduces my FPS a little bit, I'll take it to make my game look a little better. Textures is kind of the same thing, but for FPS sake, I have it on low. Effects, I have this on medium. Same thing as post-processing. Just want to get a little bit of quality out. So reflections, we have on low, foliage low, and global illumination low. And these kind of settings I just have off because they don't really matter. Alright, so moving on to audio. Output mode, stereo headphones, night mode. This one's pretty important. So like, you turn this off, you can see that like the audio level has decreased a bit. So what this does essentially is it makes it so that quiet sounds are louder and louder sounds are more quiet. And what it'll do is it'll try to find a nice balance in the middle. So this is really nice for like hearing distant enemies approaching you and footsteps and stuff like that. So definitely recommend having this on if you are very PvP heavy. Moving on, master volume 50, effects volume 100, music volume 0. I don't really want like a bunch of music playing in the background when I am in a raid, so 0 for this. Dialogue volume is kind of whatever, this is like questing and all that. I really had an issue with this, so I just left it as is. Party push chat volume 90, so this is like your teammates and stuff if you're playing like Rios Phil or something like that. Proximity voice chat volume, this one's pretty important. I have this on 140. I cranked this up because it makes it easier to like locate like enemies and stuff if they're like speaking in game, so this is really nice. Automatic gain control, we have this on. Essentially what this does, it will optimize your mic, so if you are like too loud or something like that, or your mic is too loud, it will like tone it down a bit, and if you're too quiet, it'll like increase it, so this is nice. Party voice chat mode, have this on push to talk. Proximity voice chat, if you are again very PvP heavy, I would recommend having this on push to talk as well, but not recommend having open mic, as that will make it so that essentially everybody knows where you are at all times, so not really ideal. The rest of the settings are kind of whatever. Moving on to accessibility. Black modifier, I have both of these on, kind of just left it as is. Override crosshair shape, I have this off. I just play on the default crosshair. I haven't really messed with it too much. I probably will a bit more, but kind of like that, like most of the weapons kind of like have like their own unique crosshair and stuff like that, so kind of more like accurately represents the weapon, in my opinion, but at the end of the day, it's all preference. Crosshair center dot radius, have this on 1. Crosshair length, thickness, also on 1. I just tried to make it like as skinny and as small as possible, just because I don't really want like my crosshair to take up like how much I'm seeing on my screen. So like for example, if I went into accessibility and went to like thickness, I would like crank this all the way up, like you can't really see as much. So ideally you make it kind of like small, but you know, still visible. So crosshair opacity 100. Personally I like green. I feel like green's a good color. You can see it in like dark environments, you can see it in like bright environments. If running something like white, you're not really gonna be able to see that in like a very like bright environment like this. If I have mine as white, so I think green is just it's like works pretty good universally. For the outline, we want it to be like black. You just turn all of these sliders down to 0. Alright, so moving on to mouse and keyboard. The first setting, which is a setting that they just recently introduced with the most recent patch, is mouse smoothing, and this one is long overdue and very needed. You're going to want to have this off unless the mouse that you're playing on is on like 250 polling rate or like 500 or something like extremely low. If you're like me and you're on like 1k, 2k, you're going to want to have this setting off, because if you have it on, it's going to mess with your sensitivity. It's going to feel inconsistent, and it's going to feel like really like slow and sluggish. So I recommend having this off. But I can like try to show a little example. If I try to do a 180 with it on, this is about like as far as I can go. before I reach the edge of my mouse pad. And if I go back in and I turn it off, I try to do another 180, I can get to just about here. So it's a massive difference in terms of sensitivities and stuff like that. So definitely recommend having it off if you want a smooth, consistent mouse feel. Alright, so for Nvidia control panel, these are our color settings. I have brightness and contrast on 50%, which is default, and I have gamma on 1.25, so I just have it cranked up a little bit, nothing too crazy. I find this to be a good sweet spot between being bright, but not too bright. Digital vibrance, 100%. It's really nice to have colors and stuff. You can't really see it in the recording. However, if you go in and try this yourself, you'll see a night and day difference between the colors, and it really helps like make the game pop. Alright, so in manage 3D settings, the only thing that you want to change in here is DSR factors. You want to have this off if you want to play on stress res, otherwise you can just leave this as is. Going over to change resolution, I play on 1440 by 1080, but if you want something more specific, you can go into customize and you can make a custom resolution. Just make sure that you change the refresh rate of the custom resolution to the refresh rate that your monitor can do. So if you go into the bottom left window search and you type in settings and you go to system, display, and then graphics, there's a little tab here that says optimization for Windows games. You want to make sure that that is on. That will reduce latency and give you a little boost in FPS. Additionally, there is a setting called hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Personally, I haven't had good experiences with it. I get stutters and things like that. Other people have reported things like this as well, so I have it off. But you could play around with it and see if it works for you. Alright, so I think that is going to conclude the settings video. I hope that you're able to learn something new and use this as like a guideline to tweak and optimize your settings. If you did like the video, make sure to drop a like and maybe consider subscribing if you want to see more content. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me. Peace.